Behave!
Hello, welcome back to more Warhammer. I finally, fucking car. I finally picked my classes. Let's see. Uh, I am a bounty hunter, operative bounty hunter. Pascal is operative grand strategist. Idra is operative bounty hunter, same as me. Cassia is officer master tactician. Argenta is soldier and arch militant. And Abelard, the seneschal, is warrior and vanguard. Okay. And when I get the other guy, he'll be assassin. Oh, there you go, Hendrix. Don't mind the vroom vrooms from behind. Listen to you. I know nothing about you, Hendrix. Could you please tell me a little about yourself?
I'm usually the one interested in the pasts of those around me, not the reverse. I come from a night world, Guizorn 3. I belong to a branch of one of the noble houses until my exceptional abilities were discovered. After that, I was sent on a black ship to Holy Terra, where I was trained, and I began my service for the glory of the Imperium. Like many psychers unaware of their curse, I found out when a strong emotional reaction triggered an involuntary response. My great aunt had a pet grink. One day, it bit me, and I boiled it from inside out. And when my great aunt slapped me for what I'd done, I boiled her too.
Damn, I expected a more dramatic story.
If I were to summon a demon or rain down fire on everyone's heads, we wouldn't be standing here talking right now. However, I took the life of a family member. In my opinion, that is more than enough drama.
Tell me about the black ship.
Picture a vast prison ship, filled with frightened, angry psychers who can't control their abilities and who have just lost their homes and their families. Some of them were children and adolescents like I was. Some were monstrous creatures who no longer had the right to be called human, or psychopaths who reveled in their impure powers. Once, when one of the miscreants broke free, those in command simply depressurized the bay and got rid of the culprit, along with the prisoners and crew tainted by him. But even after that, I heard the echo of inhuman suffering and terror that filled that part of the ship. It grieves me to recall that episode to this day.
Sorry?
I do, but I have no ties to my homeworld now. None except my first name. I left Guizorn 3 when I was still a child. My family disowned me, stripping me of my family name. I was given a new one by those who trained me. Even for a noble, being branded a psyker is a mark of eternal shame. I experienced that firsthand before I was put on the black ship.
You were sent to the Inquisition straight after training?
No. First, I was accorded the status of a psyker fit for service in the Imperial Guard, where I then spent several years. It was only afterward that I became an agent of the Golden Throne.
Let's talk about something else. How long have you served in the Inquisition?
Since the day of my initiation as an acolyte. So, decades. How many real years it's been, it's hard to say. When I return from a journey through the warp, I often discover that much more or much less time has passed in real space.
You visited many worlds during your service, I wager.
Indeed. I have visited many of the places brought to the Emperor's light. and those sullied by the filth of the archenemy. In truth, even after all these years spent visiting the various corners of the Imperium and looking beyond its borders, I still consider the Segmentum Solar to be the greatest of all humanity's bastions. Nothing compares to the majesty of Holy Terror, the might of Mars, the grandeur of the Segment's other worlds.
What duties have you been carrying out for the Inquisitor?
You can't really be expecting me to answer that question, can you?
I gave it a try. For someone who's been in service for decades, you certainly look young.
The first step for biomancers such as myself is to take control of the processes of their own body, including aging. I've endured innumerable hazards in my work. If I allowed every trace of them to remain, I would look completely different today.
Let's change the subject.
Gladly.
You're not the Inquisitor. You're not the Inquisitor's only acolyte, correct?
Of course not. The Lord Inquisitor's entourage comprises dozens of people. The best of the best. Experts in various fields and disciplines. Some of them I know personally. Others I've never met. To be honest, I'm not even certain that the people I know are still alive. I used to work with other acolytes of the Lord Inquisitor, but in the Coronis Expanse, I have been working alone.
1 second. I just remembered. Sound. What did it pick up? Because it was low for last video. That should do it. One day among the stars without family and friends. Do you get lonely?
I had never even considered such a thing before you asked. Perhaps I do. Sometimes.
Such criminal neglect of your needs.
Your concern for my needs, Lord Captain, is extremely unexpected. Would you like to remedy my deficit of personal interaction? I would not be opposed to a pleasant conversation, if you can find the time.
Oh, that was fast. If you're an integrator, does that mean you hold a special position in the routine? Retinue.
We are not a retinue. We are acolytes. As for your question, I am closer than anyone else to the one I call my personal teacher. The Lord Inquisitor deemed me worthy of undertaking the most important and sensitive tasks requiring the attention of agents of the Golden Throne.
Are the other acolytes in the Expanse? Let's talk about something else.
Such as?
I must take my leave. What can you do as a psycho-sure?
The Lord Inquisitor was most insistent that I master the discipline of Santic Demonology. I use my faith and my power to crush the enemies of the Imperium. Servants of Chaos tremble at the sound of the Emperor's name, uttered by my lips. I am also a skilled biomancer. I can manipulate bodily processes. Sometimes I resort to those skills in the course of my work, when it is necessary to make the subject of an interrogation more cooperative.
I must take my leave. Okay, that was cool. I guess it's gonna be a talking. The Seneschal. Sure, why not?
Lord Captain,
I'd like to know more about my Seneschal.
as you wish, Lord Captain. What would you like to know?
Tell me about yourself. What were you before you became Theodorus Seneschal?
I used to be an officer in the Navis Imperialis. No, a used to be is not quite right. It was not simply a job. It was my calling, the essence of my life. I was proud to serve Lord Captain Theodora, but in my heart and mind, I am still an officer of the Imperium. I met Lord Captain Theodora on a mission where the Imperial Navy was providing reinforcement to the rogue traders' army on one of the frontier worlds. Our acquaintance was not easy. Working with people outside the Navy hierarchy has never been my strong suit. It was to my great surprise then, that after the mission's completion, I received a referral to leave my service in the Navy and join the Rogue Trader's personal council. It was a difficult choice for me, but I saw in the offer a chance to serve the interests of humanity even more effectively than in the Navis Imperialis. You do not need me to tell you just how remarkable a person Lord Captain Theodora was. I recognized her at once as a true leader and formidable creative force. One who had built a protectorate amidst the dangers and wildness of the expanse.
Leaving the Imperial Navy is far from easy. Why were you permitted to quit your post?
You could say there was no one among the naval command who was willing to impede the wishes of the Rogue Trader. To do so would be to risk their own position and their relationship with Theodora. Well, the Lord Captain possessed certain contacts in the Imperial Navy. Contacts which she used to request help during the conflict on the border world. And which enabled her to make me an offer that resulted in my joining her retinue. The Navis Imperialis is an ancient institution with its own mandates and muster lists. On occasion, in the heat of an official briefing, or an informal discussion, I violated those rules, determined to press my point. It is challenging to choose the words to accurately express my opinion on a situation or the actions of others that do not sound overly scathing or confrontational. Many in command were inclined to view my manner of speaking as unbefitting a person of my rank.
The way you talk about Theodora, I'm beginning to think you're in love with her.
What? Lord Captain, any allegations of improper feelings or unsanctioned relations are utterly baseless and bordering on the insulting. Utterly baseless.
Haha! Bullshit. Do you have family?
I am a widower. I am a father of 4, and if my information is not outdated, a grandfather of 11. My family lives on Dargonus. None of my children express any eagerness or aptitude for serving aboard ship, and I would hardly have insisted that they follow in my footsteps.
Thank you, I have no more questions.
Of course.
I must take my leave until next time, Seneschal.
Lord Captain.
Okay, that was the Seneschal. We do 2 more. It's gonna be a talking. It's gonna be getting to know our crewmate episode, so it happens here and there. It's part of the. That's why we play these games.
Greetings.
Tell me about the. Oh, I already did everything. Okay. Cassia, you got anything for me? Where's Cassia?
Words cannot describe how boring the bridge is without our stimulating conversations. I am a part of House Orselio, an ancient dynasty of the Navis nobility. Since time immemorial, our family has served to advance knowledge, pushing at the boundaries of the dark unknown. The Starway Atlas contains 2,843 routes that chart the sectors of the Segmentum Obscurus and reach all the way from the Coronis Expanse to Holy Terra.
Listen in silence.
And uniting the Imperium's thousands of worlds. House Orselio is bound by commercial pacts to houses Galeatis, Ortina, Drotus, and... There is a dark blue knot tightening on your neck, Lord Captain. I can see my reply is not satisfying your thirst for knowledge. What is it you desire to hear exactly?
Navigators identify so strongly with their house, and it must be difficult for you not to be able to lean on your elders. But you have my word, I will look after you.
You will? That would be most appreciated, Lord Captain.
So you never lived anywhere other than Iraq 5?
Hardly. According to the chronicles of the house, I was born on one of the Orselio worlds. Oh, what was it? Please forgive me, Lord Captain. My childhood memories are too vague. Sometimes I dream about the colorful birds that built their nests in the garden, or the servants dressed in purple livery, or the blue fog that rolled over the lowlands behind the palace. But everything is covered in a rosy haze. Perhaps it is my imagination, not my memory, that is painting these pictures.
Tell me about your life on the station. I want to know about Third Eye. Then we go back to Stu. Your third eye, do you always conceal it?
The Navigator's open eye is baneful to whoever the warp's ruinous shine falls upon, and therefore it is the symbol of our power. We are the guiding stars of humanity, found worthy of an uncommon gift, and one of the duties that we bear is to guard our eye, even from wayward glances that may bear evil. Besides, I am aware that lesser servants of the Imperium may find our appearance repulsive. The Navigator gene twists the features the rabble are used to seeing, and the magnificence of our role cannot be grasped by their feeble minds.
You are beautiful, Cassia. Do not let anyone or anything convince you otherwise. Well, I hope portrait looks actually fine, but then in the game model she looks lanky as fuck. Well, I'll say it.
You are much too kind to me, Lord Captain. Allow me, for my part, to note the beauty of your shoulders? Yes, your shoulders. Pray let us change the subject.
Tell me about your life on the station.
My stay on the station was wholly dedicated to preparing me for my future duty. Astromancy, astrography, numerology, the histories of my house and the Imperium, as well as other disciplines. For many years, dozens of instructors tirelessly prepared me for my destiny. And once a year, Great Regent Alronto would come to the station. He would entrust his beautiful vessel to my command, so that I could master the practical aspects of our art as well.
Did you have friends, someone you could turn to for a simple conversation, not a discussion of yet another lecture?
The Regent gave me a bird from a sunlit planet once. I tried to befriend it and make it sing, but for some reason, it refused and died soon after. The instructors were too respectful of my duty to my house to waste precious time on idle chatter. Aside from them, there were only servants on the station, and you know they have their vocal cords removed, so they cannot break their vow of silence.
Goddamn.
And since the subject has been breached, Lord Captain, why do you not follow this honored tradition? Your decks are so garish. Apologies, I meant noisy. The rabble don't just chatter. Sometimes they shout and even sing. Why do you allow such a lack of restraint? Rogue traders are highborn, are they not?
A ruler cannot maim people just because it is in her power to do so. On the contrary, it is the duty of every ruler to look after her subjects.
Your words sound amazingly blasphemous. If a ruler's duty dictates the need for violence, would dispensing it not be their responsibility? I will contemplate your answer in solitude.
What does it feel to guide a vessel through the warp?
It may be difficult to describe. You see, every navigator perceives the warp differently. My mentor, Great Regent Alronto, always described his travels through the Immaterium as a journey through a vast wood with countless paths. And I, assisting him in the first voyages, futilely tried to follow his example. But the wood would not reveal itself to me. But everything changed when I found my own key to this mystery. You see, I've always brightened up my rare moments of leisure time by painting. You may recall there was a workshop in my chambers. As soon as I imagined the warp as a blank canvas, an indescribable feeling came over me. I moved the brush, going deeper and deeper into my own painting. Visions were hidden within the vibrant colors of my palette, and something inside me knew which should be brought out and which should be left behind. I woke up several days later, after the voyage was safely complete.
I noticed that your love of painting is reflected in your speech as well. You associate so many images with hues and colors.
The Emperor graced me with a gift. I can see inner life in addition to the mundane. You cannot know that a fruit has rotten from the inside until a blade slices it in two. I can see the rot from far away. It roils like swamp mud, oozing through the bright peel. Anger and boredom, sadness and joy. Everything that people shut away inside themselves is revealed to me like colors on the canvas of my world.
Why don't we talk about something else?
You will hear no objection from me, Lord Captain.
What does this special sight reveal?
Sister Argenta shines like a guiding star, inspiring resolve in those around her, seemingly inexplicably. However, I see a dark and ugly fog billow behind her, contrasting sharply with her shining light. It burdens the Sister of Battle. It drags her down. Yet Argenta herself is hardly aware of it. Seneschal Viserion is among the few whose colors are a pleasure to look at. Whenever the Seneschal speaks, heavenly crystal clarity spreads around him. And whenever he is angered, dark blue clouds condense over him. And in his rare moments of joy, a pure gleam of sunset pink caresses the souls of those near him. Out of your entire retinue, Lord Captain, he is the only one I would trust with my life. The esteemed Magus Hanuman is shattered like a beautiful stained glass window into a mosaic of colors. His bright, beckoning hues are mixed together in complete disarray. I must confess, it perplexes me. Normally, scarlet and steel are all that fills the heart of a servant of the Omnissiah. Behind the cobalt steel of his thoughts, behind the cold, faded gray of his emotions, an ember, the color of amber, glows in Master Van Kalox's soul. So bright and warm, one is tempted to touch it. It is sad that the interrogator seeks to drown it with his own hands in the bottomless blue of duty. Sad indeed, but I can relate. Idira's emotions are like a maelstrom, bright, unbridled, enveloping her form like a wondrous kaleidoscope of colors. And as dangerous as a twisting warp storm. The riot of colors hides the truth from my eyes. What exactly is driving this woman? Is it her own will, or is it the Immaterium, Lord Captain?
This is where I must beg my leave.
I have enjoyed your company. Thank you for the conversation.
Anytime. Okay. We go to Idra to see if she has anything to say. Where's Idra? Oh, she goes. You seem to have a strong reaction to what Argenta said by the broken lens.
It was just my nerves playing up. Something about our little saint doesn't sit right with me, and I trust my gut. Oh sure, she seems straight as an arrow and as predictable as a hangover after drinking. But when I look at her, something about her makes my brain itch. After that conversation, I tried to listen to what was being said about her. Beyond the door. What I heard was strange. Blood in her past, twilight in her present, and something like a star leading her. But where is it leading her? I saw several roads, and all of them frightened me.
Maybe we should warn Argenta?
Oh yeah, you go ahead and tell her the wicked Psyker has divined something about her. She'll be so pleased and grateful, and of course she'll listen to what you have to say. No, that would be pointless. And anyway, I'm not even sure what it all means. Maybe the danger is to her? Or maybe the danger's coming from her.
Awareness text Idra's voice full of animosity, but used to detect concern, even a hint of pity and compassion. My sick my leaf.
Of course. Always at your service. Whenever you need me.
Is that it?
Of course. Always at your service. Whenever you need me.
And the last one is Pascal. We should be around here. Actually here. There he goes.
The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all.
I want to know the truth about you.
The request is approved. I did conceal certain information. I was a student of Archmagus Amanat, but I committed an act of betrayal after he deviated from sacred dogma.
How did you betray Armanat?
The teachings of the blessed Amanat spread, and word of it reached the conclave of the Cognizance fleet. They recognized his teachings as tech heresy. Many tech priests suddenly vanished or were subjected to server penance for minor transgressions. The students of Amanat, whose number included many enlightened and respected brothers, resisted. My prognosis showed that our most likely future was a schism and a fratricidal war that would destroy the Cognizance fleet. That was when I headed to the Conclave. I confessed and handed the information about my mentor's research over to the Conclave. Brazen, anathematic studies of the Forbidden Law. The Conclave could use that data to summon Archmagus Amanat to stand trial and compel him to repent on pain of excommunicate Traitoris. His subsequent fate is unknown to me.
Directly as the lowest son of the Imperium.
I pray that the Omnissiah grants us wisdom to overcome the dialectic differences that divide us.
What did Amarat do?
He fell into schism and challenged the sacred boundaries of knowledge. The blessed Amanat claimed the limits of what is permitted must be expanded, because by refusing to explore certain law, we find ourselves in contempt of the seventh universal law. Comprehension is the key to all things.
The sacred commandments are served by the follow of the Code of Mechanicus.
My mentor put forth a thesis claiming that we have stagnated, that ritual is now nothing but a cage for souls and false worship of the Omnissiah. He sought to break the cycle of mindless repetition because he saw the inevitable demise of our faith and all humanity at the end of it.
Son of the Imperium have indeed off his side. His argument sounds reasonable. Fascinating.
Acknowledged.
So what did you go to, Ragnick Morris?
I was summoned there by a message that was encrypted with the blessed Amanat's personal code, and could it be interpreted in several ways. One thing was certain. We were in danger, and I had to go to Rykat Minoris.
The tech priest named Abel. Who is he?
Assessing his personality is difficult. The spirit of Brother Abel is different from that of most people. Tech comrades of the Cog call such persons quiet ones. He possesses significant intellect, but shuns communication. So far, I have not been able to determine why Abel summoned me to Rykat Minoris, how he is related to the blessed Amanat, or why he bears the same name as me. Perhaps Reverend Abel may not be fully able to actualize and interpret the available data.
What are you going to do next?
I was wrong. when I assumed it was the blessed Archmagos Amonat who assumed the guise of Abel Haneman. But there is a connection between him and the Reverend Abel, and I intend to uncover the nature of this link.
I have no more questions.
Acknowledged. I will return to ruminating on the search for the blessed Amonat.
I want to know more about your past. The thing is,
The request is approved. I have no outright restrictions on disclosing this information.
where are you from?
Information about my origins is worthless. I belong to the priesthood of explorators and came to the Coronis Expanse over 200 years ago. Any events preceding that moment are insignificant.
How did you end up in the Chorus Expanse?
I was honored to become a member of the Explorator Cognizance Fleet. When the Adeptus Mechanicus summoned the faithful for an exploratory venture into the depths of the Coronis Expanse, I joined the fleet in fulfillment of my sacred vows of comprehension.
Why are you not in the fleet then?
After I betrayed Archmagos Amonat, the fleet conclave directed me to the orbital station, Alto Templum Calixus EXT-17, for penance. This venerable temple station was founded in the early years of our expansion into the Coronis Expanse. It is currently a rear observation post of the Cognizance Fleet in orbit around the star Furibundus.
Who are the explorators?
The sacred fraternity of explorers. The cult Mechanica sends us out to the frontiers of the known sectors as researchers and conquerors. We are the warriors of the code, who return to the lost worlds and devote themselves to recovering the lost ancient knowledge. Explorators are granted the privilege of being more independent than many of our tech comrades. However, it has earned us a reputation as unstable and poorly controlled troublemakers whose unorthodox views are dangerously close to apostasy.
Tell me about your mechanics.
They are my younger brothers and guides on the way to the Omnissiah. Their machine spirits are directly bound to my neocortex and pick up impulses from my subconscious. Sometimes they act ahead of my thoughts. This is how the Omnissiah leads me to comprehension.
We can stop there.
Acknowledged.
Tell me more about the Adeptus Mechanicus.
I am honored to belong to the priesthood of Mars, guided by its tenets. We safeguard technology against the impure and the unenlightened. That is where the cult of the Omnissiah originated, and where we were granted the first revelations. Many millennia ago, we made an alliance with the Emperor of Terra, and have served the Imperium ever since, paying a tribute of machinery, weapons, and void ships. Everything that bears the blessed seal of machinery comes from our hands, and it is we who make sure the operating rituals are performed as they were meant to. We are everywhere. We are the Mars-forged steel bars that give the Imperium strength.
Why do you mean you guard? It is not buried treasure. It's a secret. It's not a secret.
It is both a treasure and a secret. Technology is how the divinity of the Omnissiah manifests itself in this world. This is why the uninitiated may only be allowed to touch the most vulgar and mundane of its instances. We, on the other hand, are authorized to use the sacred catechism of maintenance and operation. Although there is another reason to deny lay people the sacrament of knowledge, it can be dangerous. Twisted by renegades, the Omnissiah's wisdom is called heretic. and the exposure to it may corrupt the uninitiated. Another danger is knowledge strangely interpreted and inscrutably twisted by the minds of the Xenos. This bane is called Xenotech.
Sacred objects should be touched only by worthy hands. Many things you cannot understand is the opposite of seeking knowledge. Technology is merely a tool that can be employed without risk by a wise wielder. Yeah, sure, we know.
That is a bold hypothesis. And yet the Omnissiah teaches us that a dauntless mind can penetrate any knowledge through analysis, where the ignorant see heresy, the enlightened might see truth.
Do you hold a high position in your fraternity?
This electu indicates that I am a Magos, who has mastered the sacraments of many spheres of knowledge, and has the right to conduct services in a forged cathedral.
What is the Omnissiah in your understanding?
He is the divine mechanism, the maker of technology. The universe was made to resemble a mechanical marvel because the Omnissiah rules over it. Knowledge is the highest form that he uses to manifest in the world. For now. Someday, he will come to this world in the absolute fullness of his splendor. The Adeptus Mechanicus worship the Emperor. He is the earthly manifestation of the Omnissiah, who brought humanity into the light of divine grace.
What is behind the Mechanicus enthusiasm for replacing flesh with augmentations?
Organic tissue is an imperfect replica of the machine, transient and vulnerable. Metal is more stable, more effective, and more durable. Flesh speak is flawed next to binaric language. Meat begets weakness. It softens the mind and undermines discipline. But you can replace metal when it wears down. In addition, a machine is a supreme form of knowledge, and by assuming mechanical form, we become closer to the Omnissiah. However, like all things sacred, our augmentations must not be defiled by the eyes of the ignorant, which is why we reveal only the crudest of tools, while holier mechanisms remain concealed beneath our crimson robes.
I'm curious to see your augmentations.
The right to witness the miracle of flesh being fused with holy metal is granted only to those who have ascended to the rank of initiate. However, your lofty status of rogue trader allows me to make a partial exception and reveal my sacred stigmata.
Pascal vividly parts the robe's scarlet folds on his chest. You see enigmatic white meat gawed through by metallic stunts and flexible wires. Blood runs through transparent pipes enriched with the nutrients required by the pallid flesh. Succeeded. The sight of the body transformed into appendage to an incredibly complex mechanism built using unfamiliar ancient blueprints is mesmerizing. Every component of this machine serves the dual purpose of preserving life in Pascal's fragile flesh and preventing all threats to his well-being. The Omnissiah has been generous to you. His creation is keeping you safe from death.
The Omnissiah has been generous to you too. He has granted you understanding.
You have a strange way of speaking. Is that because of the augmentation, and does your faith dictate how you should express yourself?
Partially true. I had a voice modulator implanted alongside the respiratory purification module, but there is an additional reason. Gothic is not my first language. I am used to thinking and making statements in lingua technis. The binaric language is more informative, more ergonomic, and less prone to misinterpretation.
I have no more questions.
Acknowledged.
I must take my leave.
May your labors be effective and fruitful.
Well, that was today's video. I know it wasn't action-packed, but sometimes you just gotta talk. As always, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys on the next video.